Do you ever catch yourself going round and round in circles on your business strategy? Maybe you're questioning your niche. Maybe you're asking yourself, is this the right offer to put out into the world? Or maybe you're even just questioning your next Instagram post. If that's you, just know this is totally normal, whether you call it analysis paralysis or productive procrastination or just getting all up in your head. This is one of the most common places and ways to get stuck in your coaching business. So if that's you, today's episode is going to help you move through that decision overwhelm and to get unstuck and make fast progress in your coaching business. Hello and welcome to the Life First Coaching Business Podcast. I'm your host, Leonie, and I'm all about helping new coaches like you create life first businesses you love by building out the key foundations you need for an easeful and joyful business, where you get to make an impact doing what lights you up and helping others. We talk about the strategies, the systems, and the mindset you need to make your coaching business work for you. So let's dive in. Okay, so as I said in the intro, today is all about overcoming the overthinking in your coaching business, because this is the number one way that you're going to get stuck in your business, is overthinking your strategy and getting stuck in analysis paralysis, where you're in your own head trying to make decisions on how to move forward instead of putting things out into the world and making real progress. So know that this is totally normal, and know that this happens to almost everyone when they're starting a business or they're making a big leap in their business, they're moving up to the next level. And it's a way our brain is trying to keep us safe and to keep us in a place of comfort and to stop us moving into the unknown, into something that our body perceives as being unsafe because it's unknown. So it's a form of self-protection, and this is totally, totally normal. And some of the thought patterns I often see coming out in myself and in my clients is thinking, this needs to be 100% perfect before I put it out there. And I think surrounding that comes the thought that if you get it wrong and you move forward and you haven't got it perfectly right, you can't backtrack, you can't take it back, you've made a mistake and everything's going to fall apart. And if we take a step back from that way of thinking, it's completely untrue. There's no rule that says if you move forward with something and it's not quite right, that you can't take a step back, tweak, refine. In fact, that is the most normal thing in business. And if you ask any successful business owner, they'd rarely say, the first thing I put out there, nailed it, never had to make a change. It's always an evolution, and it's always a case of refining and improving and tweaking and iterating. It's an iterative process in your business, whether that's your messaging, whether that's your offer, whether that's your pricing strategy, your content strategy, your sales strategy. All these things evolve over time. And the faster that you make progress in putting things out into the world and getting real feedback from real human beings, the faster you can see where those improvements and those iterations are going to help you to progress and help you to scale and help you to grow. So the thing that's going to keep you stuck the longest and prolong your journey to getting to the vision of a life first business that you have is getting stuck in your own head and not putting things out into the world. So a few reframes for you here is to think that there is no one single right answer when it comes to your business. And sometimes we can tell ourselves that like, there's only one right answer and I need to find that perfect right answer. But that's not the case at all. So many different niches can work. So many different messages can work. So many different iterations of an offer can work. And it's not about finding the perfect right one, but it's about having strategy behind creating something. So you've got great strategy behind your first iteration, and then getting feedback and then refining and improving and evolving as you move forward. And think of it in that way. Think of it all as an experiment rather than this perfect thing that needs to be unchangeable and exactly right before it goes out into the world. Most offers, most niches, most messaging will evolve once you get that feedback, nearly all of them. And you can't refine something that's still in your head. So those three things should help you shift your mindset a bit to help you move forward and realize that the stuff that you're doing in your head before you put it out into the world is just a small part of the process, and such a big part of the process is actually looking at the data, looking at the results you get, looking at what happens when you get this in front of people who are your ideal client, and then refining from there. So there's a really great analogy for this, that you can't steer a parked car. And that's true if you're just in your own head trying to make your strategy work. You can't steer it, you can't move it in the right direction. So get things out there, get feedback, and know that your clarity is going to come from action, not from endless thinking. And it's not about getting it perfect, it's about getting a great first attempt out there with strategy behind it, so you're not just stepping in the dark, but then understanding that this can evolve. It's not a fixed thing that can't change, and the sooner you get it out there, the sooner you can start getting that feedback. So you could think of this as being your experimental phase in your business. I call it the launch phase, and it's about getting to that point where you've got your niche, your offer, your message, your selling strategy validated. You know it works. You know you've got something that you can market, sell, and deliver and get results for your clients. And once you've got to that point, that's when you can think, right, now I can look at how I can refine this, how I can streamline it, how I can systemize things, how I can scale things, and all that amazing stuff that's going to lead you to your life first business vision, where you get to make an impact, doing work that really lights you up. But the first phase of that is doing those experiments, getting that data, having those conversations. And that's just part of being in business. That's the part that I really think it's worth embracing and seeing it as a really fun process to go through and to enjoy it. And sometimes we can get very fixated with our first idea and feel precious about it, and that can keep you stuck. So really approach it as an experiment. Think of your niche and your messaging and your offer and your selling strategy, those 4 elements that I'm always talking about. Think of them like the key ingredients in a cake that you're baking. And sometimes those ingredients need to be tweaked. Sometimes you need to add a bit of something extra to enhance the flavor, or you need to adjust the cooking time or the cooking temperature to get those ingredients working in a way that you're creating the best cake. And most of the time when you try a new recipe, the first attempt is not going to be perfect. So really approach your business and your offer and your messaging in that way. And we're not aiming for something that's inedible. We're aiming for great first iteration, and then you can improve from there. And one of the best things you can do for yourself, if you're in this phase, if you are someone that you notice you can easily fall into that decision overwhelm or that analysis paralysis phase, is get some structure and accountability and some support as you're building your business, so that you're not doing it alone. Because when we're doing something alone, it's really hard often to see the wood for the trees. And someone on the outside who is looking in and isn't as close up to it and isn't as invested in it as you are can really see much more clearly where there's some gaps, where there's something missing, where there's some improvements that can be made. And often it's all about communication. It's the key when it comes to marketing and selling. And often it's just about adding a bit more specificity, or adding a bit more boldness to the messaging, or adding a bit more structure to the offer. And that can be really hard to see when you're completely in your own head around it. Whereas someone on the outside can look at it and say, here's where I can see some tweaks and some improvements would really make all the difference. So that's where, if you're someone that's been considering getting support with starting your coaching business, and maybe you haven't quite tapped into exactly how that can collapse time for you and how that can help you make progress so much quicker, it's moving you through those phases of stuck in decision overwhelm, or stuck in over-analyzing, or stuck because you can't see why it's not working yet. And that's really the crux of how support and coaching and accountability can help you move forward really quickly and collapse that timeline to getting your business foundations dialed in. So please know that overthinking is a habit. It's not a personality trait. It's not that you are bad at starting your business if you're someone who's feeling like this. As I said, it is your brain just trying to keep you safe and to keep you in a place of comfort, because putting things out into the world feels like the scariest step. And you can feel like you're productive when you're doing everything yourself in a silo, but you're just keeping yourself safe from actually getting that feedback. And the more you can embrace, well, the feedback might not always be amazing. The feedback might be that I need to make some changes, I need to refine things, and that is perfectly fine. Actually, it's amazing, because the quicker you learn those things, the quicker you can make those iterations and those improvements. So get things out into the world, embrace the feedback, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's somewhere in the middle, which is more likely to be the case, and make those shifts, make those tweaks fast, and then you can improve and get things to the point where you want them to be as quickly as possible. So I encourage you to take one action today to help you move forward, whether it's reaching out to someone for a conversation, whether it's putting something out into the world that you've been working on, or even just giving yourself a deadline to do that. That's going to help you move forward as quickly as possible. So you've got this, keep moving forward. And I hope some of the things I've shared with you today are just helpful to shift your mindset a bit and help you see this is totally normal, and the way that you can move through it as quickly and as smoothly as possible and get to the other side. I think something I've been thinking about lately is how wherever we are in our business, there's always another hurdle in front of us. We never get to the end of the race when it comes to business. And so the sooner that you can get into the mindset of just getting good at jumping over those hurdles instead of trying to avoid them, you're going to make progress so much quicker. So I hope that's been helpful. It's just a little mindset shift for you today. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with another coach who might find it useful. And if you've got a spare few seconds, I'd love it if you'd leave a rating and a review, because it would help other coaches to find this podcast. But otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll catch you next time. Oh, before you go, you need to grab yourself a copy of the best and most useful freebie on the internet for coaches. It's my free one-page client attraction blueprint. It takes you through the exact 7 steps you need to go from 0 clients to filling your wait list. And you can map it out all on one page, and there's a mini training that comes with it that walks you through that process. So head to the link in the show notes and grab your copy now.